Welcome back, guys. I hope you're all doing really well. We're back with another video. I had a completely different video in mind to film, but I finished watching tsitp on Friday. Today's Sunday, and I just can't think of anything else right now. So I'm just going to film my thoughts. I know technically The Summer I Turned Pretty is a series based off books, and this is a channel where we talk about books, but a sad or like weird twist of events is that I've actually never read the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy. I've only watched the show. So yeah, I just hope you guys can keep that in mind because I just want to talk about the finale. I want to talk about season 3, but really I just want to rant and chat. Maybe rant is a bit extreme, but I just want to chat about that final episode because I have so many thoughts and I don't know, I haven't heard anyone else say these things. So I'm just going to go through my list of things that I felt about that episode. So I'll just give some quick thoughts on the whole season 3 specifically, before I get into the finale, because that's what I really want to talk about. I have been loving, oh sorry, I shouldn't say loving because it's finished now. I have loved season 3 so much. Like, I feel like the tsitp universe is not something that I was like, I just watched it because I found it entertaining. I found season 1 a bit cringe, to be honest. And then season 2 stepped up for me, like even specifically like Taylor's character. She just, like, such a switch. If we compare Taylor season 1 to Taylor season 3, I can't remember Taylor season 1 because she's so different and it's so much better. But yeah, it was cringe and whatnot, but I kept pushing because it was so entertaining. And then season 2 for me didn't feel like a season. I don't know if anyone else feels like this. It went by so fast. I don't know, I don't even count it because it felt to me like the whole thing was getting Belly and Jeremiah together. And then when they got together, the season was basically over. I don't know. I found season 2 like too short in my brain. I think it must have been the same amount of episodes, but I don't know why it was short in my brain. And now we get on to season 3. Season 3 for me, I don't know if it's the fact that they've been releasing an episode every week, but I just feel like this season has been stepped up in so many ways. I feel like the actual plot has expanded because Conrad moving away to med school, we still got a bit of his life, and then we got obviously Belly and Jeremiah, their whole like wedding planning, and then we got Taylor and Stephen and their relationship. And I feel like we got a bigger scope when it came to the show and who they were following. I just think as well, the plot was a lot more entertaining for me because season 1 was about the core kind of plot point was the debutante, and then season 2 was losing the house, right? So I feel like I enjoyed the season so much more because now we're really just talking about the relationships and the couples. So maybe that's why I also enjoyed this season a lot more. I just think each episode for me, to me as someone who's never read the books, I feel like they were taking more from the books and really giving the book people what they want. And that's crazy because I haven't even read it, but I can just feel it. Even the soundtrack for me, like, I know that this whole show, and particularly I'll be talking about season 3, but they rely so much on Taylor Swift, and I'm assuming it's because the audience that mainly watches this show probably likes Taylor Swift, so I think it works. My personal opinion, I think Taylor Swift's music suits the show. That's just how I feel. Obviously, if you don't like her music, then you're not going to like it. But for me, I feel like because Belly's narrating the show and she's quite young and she's obviously going through a lot and she's making all these like crazy mistakes. I feel like having Taylor Swift's voice, it just melds really well, I think. Specifically season 3, we get a lot of Tortured Poets Department and Midnights. For me, Tortured Poets is like my favorite album. Yeah, I like sad music. So whenever they played a song from TTPD in TSITP, it was like the best thing. It was honestly the best thing ever. And it hit so hard. When they played Robin for the scene when they were little kids and she's playing in that shop with the little glass unicorn. Robin's actually one of my all-time favorite TTPD songs. So I know it's not a favorite for other people, but it's just, I don't know why, it's just randomly it is, and I just like chokehold. It had me in a chokehold when they played that song. So personally for me, I think the fact that this season they used a lot of TTPD and Midnight songs, I think it was Midnight's, was like peak content for me. It was just peak experience for me. So all in all, just the character, the plot, the whole cinematography, just the planning, the Easter eggs of everything, to me this season has been just so much fun. Like, I've enjoyed it so much. We have to talk about the season finale because I was obviously having so many predictions in my head. I was so excited. I had a lot of anticipation. And then I watched it and it was so, not so underwhelming, because technically we got the ending that I thought would happen, and I'm pretty sure happens in the books, which is Belly and Conrad getting together. But the way it happened was not that satisfying. So I want to mention two things before I get started. One, I truly feel like the timing between Belly and Jeremiah's wedding ending and then Belly and Conrad getting together, I don't know if it's a year in the books, but I think on the show that's what they're saying. It's been about a year, max 2 years, but I don't even think so. I think it's been like a year and a bit, and they get together. Personally, for me, I think that undermines the whole episode. I think it makes a lot of the stuff not very believable for me because it's only been a year. But that's just the thing. I just didn't love that it had only been 1 year in between those two occurrences, and I will explain specific details why that was a big problem. And the second thing that I wanted to mention is, what was the second thing I wanted to mention? It's completely blanked me now. Oh my god. Anyways, it'll probably come to me. Oh, the second thing is the fact that there is a movie that's being released at the end. That a movie will be coming shortly. So I only found that out at the end of the episode. So those are the two things just to keep in mind while I go down my rambly list of thoughts, and I'll probably touch on those two things because I think they may be relevant as to why certain things happened in the ending. I'll get to the first thing. So I'm literally going off the top of my head. So if I feel like I've missed something, I'm sorry. But if you feel like I've missed something, I'm sorry, but I'm literally going off the top of my head. So the scene opens up with Conrad arriving in Paris. I completely forgot actually that was his whole intention from the last episode. But yeah, he arrives in Paris and the scene opens up and we've got Belly getting off the bike with Benito, and she reveals her new haircut, the little lob situation, and her outfit. And as I said, when I was watching this episode, I was like, what is it about this? I don't know why it feels off. And I think the first thing I noticed, obviously because it's in my face, is her haircut and her outfit. And this is no personal attack on any of the characters and what they look like or what they were wearing, because obviously it's not their choice. It's the wardrobe department's choice. So my first initial instinct is I didn't like the haircut, but more than that, that's not really the issue, because obviously if I don't like something, that's not really, who cares? That's not what they're trying to achieve, is if I like it or not. I feel like her hair didn't suit her, and I feel like the outfit was not quite right. Like the hair and the outfit were not quite right for me. I feel like she was, it wasn't suiting her. It almost feel like the outfit was wearing her and the hair was wearing her rather than her wearing it, if you know what I mean. It just really stood out. Like it looked like, oh, this is what the costume department has picked out for her to wear. And I can't explain it any other way. But yeah, that felt off. Like it just felt a little bit like, ooh. I'm not saying someone can't like grow in a year and change their style and change their hair. Like obviously that's normal. But you know when you're watching a movie or a show and you're just like, it's not believable, that's what it felt like. It didn't feel believable. And I haven't really had that with this show. Like the whole time, everything from the costuming to the plot, like, and the characters, like, it's very believable. So I was shocked that, anyways, I'm assuming this is what happens in the books, so that's why they've done this whole outfit shift, like character aesthetic shift, and it's maybe meant to be more like French girl, Parisian style inspired, which I have no hate against. I really get that. But yeah, I just feel like it was wearing her. And so anyways, we're meant to believe she's got this kind of new personality, new friends, and she's like a grown up a little bit, which I'll just, for the sake of argument, I'm like, okay, I'm on board. I get it. She's older, she's new outfit, new hair, red lip. I get it. But this is where my next point comes in, where it's like, we've got Conrad and we've got Belly in this episode, in this finale episode. And Conrad, to me, this whole season has been, I think, trying to be, it technically throughout the whole series, to me, he's always been a little bit more mature, a little bit more grounded, a bit more like dealing with the serious stuff kind of thing. And this season, he has been trying to take his therapist's advice and be more open and like tell people how he's actually feeling, and trying to be more self-aware and trying to heal himself and improve his relationships, just a bit more mature. And so it was really odd to me in this episode that he just seemed so the opposite, like a lot more like his state of mind was very much like as if we just plucked him from right after Belly and Jeremiah's wedding, and he's still in that same state. He hasn't changed. He's almost like more emotional, and Belly is like supposed to be apparently like almost like moved on with her life. And to me, it almost felt like their whole personas, not personas, but their whole personalities and characters of Belly, the whole series, she's kind of been this kind of immature, like a little bit babyish, a little bit whiny person. And Conrad, who's been the more mature one, the more trying to heal himself and grow, they almost like swapped their personalities in this final episode, which is what I found weird. So, it's been a year, and yes, people can change, but it was just jarring to see almost like their personalities swap over in this one episode. And not too much time has passed, Anyways, it was just jarring to watch. And the scene that really sealed this in for me was when Conrad and Belly are like dancing next to the river, and they're talking about prom night, and he finishes off by saying, like, she's talking about what she thought would happen that night, and he finishes off by saying make love, and then she goes, yeah, Conrad, have sex. And I was like, this is not like, what are we trying to convince ourselves here? Like, I don't know, that was also a little bit off, but I get it. It was a bit shaky ground. He's really emotional. She's meant to be more mature. I get it. But it didn't feel like normal, because I've been watching almost like the opposite of those two personalities for those two characters the whole season, and now it's a complete flip. But yeah, that was just funny. Anyways, that was like one of the things that I was like, okay, weird for me. And then we get to them actually getting together and sleeping together and the argument that follows. I assume that this is what happens in the book, so I'm not going to critique the scene too much. Well, I am, because it's not my favorite. I didn't love that they got together in a way where like they hadn't really discussed anything. I thought I'll actually tell you guys my prediction for this last episode at the end, but I just thought it was really I just thought it was unsatisfying. Like, when you want, what is happening? Sorry, there's just sounds and doors closing and clicking things, and I don't know what's going on, but when you want a satisfying ending, and I just feel like they were like almost ruining it, like with them getting together, but they hadn't discussed. Then they're having this argument. It's just so sad. Like, it was just sad to watch. It's sad to watch Conrad thinking like they're gonna be together finally, and it was giving that in that moment where Belly's like, I'm different, and I don't know, like, do you still love me? Like, why do you still love me? And yeah, it was it was sad. That was a sad thing, to the point where I feel like they were trying to build more tension with Conrad and Belly, still draw out their story. But when you you feel like they've ruined it now. Like they're meant to be together now. Like that's what this is. And then they were ruining it and I was like, oh my God, it's actually going downhill even more than I thought it would be. That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah, that was just the cherry on the cake for me. At that point, I was like, oh, I'm really like not okay. Like, I don't love the episode. Like, I was really like, I don't understand why specifically. Now I do because we're dissecting. But in the moment, I was like, this is now we're at rock bottom. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. And then he leaves. He's in tears. Okay, awful. And she has time to change. Sorry, I'm nitpicking, but like, I understand these shows don't have to be realistic, but some things I feel like are you need to keep them at least semi-realistic so the audience doesn't lose complete engagement, you know? Anyway, she has time to change into like a white tank top and jeans. And she races down the street, like through to the train station, gets on the train. Why is that such a long run? Did anyone feel like that was a long run? Anyways, building tension. And then she confesses her love to, I was going to say Colin. No, Conrad. On the train. By that point, I was so, I don't want to say done because that seems a little harsh, but it really was the icing on the cake, the cherry on the cake, whatever you want to call, having that really, really cliche scene of her running on the train. I actually hated that because at that point I was kind of done. And then we have this really, like, to me, unoriginal scene of her running on the train. Look, I'm not saying the tsitp is the most original rom-com situation. It's not. But I feel like they're very good at creating like just really intense, romantic, genuine moments between the characters. And having that scene on the train for me was like, it must be in the books. Otherwise they wouldn't do it, right? But I just found that really, I didn't love it. I did not love it because there's so many movies where that happens. And I just thought it was like, it could have been just her running onto the street and catching him in the street in the middle of the night in Paris. Like, even that would have been so much better. And then we get the scene where they go back to cousins and they've been together for a little while. They didn't come back immediately, but they've been together and they walk through the cousins' beach house empty. And to me, I was like, why does this seem off to me? Why does this seem off? I don't know why. And it hit me. It's like, there's no purpose to be at the house. There's nothing happening. There's no event. It's not like, oh, we're meeting everyone back at the house. No, we're just walking through an empty house. Like, that was really odd. And I almost want to say it felt like they were breaking the fourth wall and not in a great way. Like, it felt like that, okay, we're coming to an end. So we're just going to walk through the empty house and not explain why. To me, that felt a little bit like, not, I don't know, like almost like purposeless. Like, is that even a word? I don't know. It just felt a bit random and rogue. And I get it because it's the ending of the show. But in terms of being in that world and being in their little universe, why were they there and why was no one there and why were they just like awkwardly standing there and smiling? I don't know. It was sort of like, I get the point because the show is ending, but I don't get it for a plot. Like, what's actually happening there? Like, why is no one there? And then it hit me that we don't get a reaction. We don't get to see the reaction of everyone else for them, to them being together. And I was like, okay, this is even weirder. And then the ending credits, the ending credits was played over this like Christmas album flip through of Conrad and Belly's first Christmas in Paris. And small side note, all the pictures were basically the same. That was a bit like, okay, like I didn't think about it in that moment that I was watching. I was just waiting for more and more and more. I didn't want to see how much time was left on the episode because I was like, no, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. We've got to get a 10-year time jump. Yeah. Instead, we get this album and it's like almost all the same picture of them in the pajamas just laughing. And it's not, that's why I thought it was strange. It's like, it's not like photos of them with their friends or one of them outside or one of them, both of them dressed up and having a meal. Like, it's all the same kind of photo. And then the letter at the end from Jenny Han. And I was just confused. I was just so confused. I was like, what? But obviously I learned that there's going to be a movie. And from what I've heard online, people are speculating it's going to be a sort of Christmas special because of that Christmas book flip through at the end, and they're going to be a little bit older, and obviously then we'll see them get married and maybe have kids because that's what happens in the book. So yeah, that was what I learned. I think it makes a little bit more sense now with the movie coming out that they wanted to hold off giving that reaction from everyone else, giving a lot of the scenes of them actually being a couple. Maybe we're trying to preserve that for the movie. And then obviously not seeing them get married or engaged or anything. It was like not a thing, which is exactly what I was expecting. So I'll get into what I thought was going to happen in this episode. I thought we were going to get, if not one, two time jumps. That's how serious I was, because the last few episodes of the show was just really like Belly in Paris and making friends and her settling into life there. And we were holding off so much that I thought, no, we're going to get a lot more in this final episode. Like, I truly believe this is a finale, but really I don't think so, because the movie I'm assuming because of the movie, there's a lot of stuff that was not given to us. So yeah, anyways, I'll get into what I thought. I thought there's gonna be at least two time jumps. One would be like maybe 5 years out from like Belly and Jeremiah's wedding going rogue and not happening, and then Belly and Conrad get together, and then we get an even further time jump of them getting married and having kids or whatever at the very end of the episode. But I thought that's what it'd be, and I thought it'd be really like so sappy and romantic, and it'd be like 5 years into the future, Belly's still in Paris, because I'm pretty sure she stays in Paris for a little while, and she's just got this whole life. And I think the time thing for me would make everything a lot better, like her being more mature or growing up and being a different person and changing a little bit. It would just be so much more realistic and believable. Like, don't get me wrong, this whole plot point of being with two brothers is not realistic, but you get what I mean. So I thought it'd be like 5 years, and like she's really not talked to Conrad a lot. Like, yes, maybe she's gotten his letters a bit here and there, and they've maybe kept in comms, but I thought it'd be a really long time, like a good couple years before they end up coming together. And I thought it'd be like him seeing her, visiting her, and it would be like this almost like euphoric experience for her. Like, everything comes crashing down, but she's like right back where she should be in her feelings, and they have a deep chat and they get together, and it's all romantic and sappy. And maybe I'm just wanting like a fairy tale situation. So this is what I was predicting, and that's what I thought the final episode would be. And then they would get together, and then we get another time jump, and it would be their wedding. Or even like, yeah, I thought it'd be like a wedding of like a shot of her walking down the aisle in her dress. To be honest, I couldn't picture Jeremiah standing there because it's so fresh in our mind. So in a way, it makes a lot of sense. But because I thought this was actually a finale, that's what I thought we were going to get. I thought we were going to get a finale. But yeah, we didn't get any of that. We didn't really get a time jump. We got like a 1 year-ish time jump in the previous episodes, and that was it. And we got a really like messy sequence of events before they got together. But yeah, I'm assuming it's because this is what happens in the books, and that's why it played out this way. I guess I'll never know until I read the book. So, oh, I actually forgot to talk about the soundtrack. So the soundtrack to me was, I thought they would be really, like, they're very thoughtful, I think, about which Taylor Swift songs they pick for which scenes. And the thing that shocked me is that they didn't pick great, well, I just don't think they picked great songs for those hard-hitting moments, especially because, like, maybe because the way they got together was a little bit, like, disjointed and a bit messy. But I just feel like the soundtrack for that final episode was nowhere near as good as some of the other episodes that had happened before. That was really shocking. Yeah, Out of the Woods is a great, like, song, but I don't know. I just think they could have picked like King of My Heart. They could have picked, I don't even know. Like, there's some big Taylor Swift numbers that they could have played. And I just was like really surprised that they didn't use some of her music that was like, would have hit really hard. But yeah, that was the other thing. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I don't think I have anything more to say. I do want to say I don't want to sound too negative, because that sounds really horrible, but I was really underwhelmed because I think the whole season has been so good. I will say, I think Steve and Taylor were actually more enjoyable to watch in this final episode than Belly and Conrad, which is crazy. I've loved watching them actually a lot this season. I've heard some people say that as soon as Steven and Taylor come on, it's like their phone time, which, look, I get it. Like, if you just want to watch Belly and Conrad or Belly and Jeremiah, fair. But they were more into, like, Taylor's, like, even though she had her, like, little freak out of Steven not telling her that they were moving to San Fran, even though it was a teensy bit overdone, it was still, like, the perfect amount of overdone, you know? And it was so entertaining and so refreshing, and I don't know, they were just more funny and entertaining to me. And then Jeremiah and Denise's little thing, yeah, like, it was good. It was satisfying. It felt normal. It felt natural. So I was really happy with that. I think I was just more distracted with Belly and Conrad. But yeah, the other parts were great. And I liked seeing Laurel and John and Adam and stuff in the final episode. I feel like Adam is just insufferable. Like, I don't know what it is. Every episode he does something really triggering and then he somehow makes himself up. Like, but it happens so frequently. I don't know. It's just funny. I heard another interesting plot point that apparently in the books, I don't know if this is true, but this is what I've heard. Laurel and Adam get together. Okay. And someone speculated that they broke. Obviously, Laurel and John have now ended. They're broken up. And it got me thinking, like, well, it didn't get me thinking. Someone said that maybe they want Laurel and Adam to be together in the movie. So for that to happen, obviously John and Laurel have to be not together. And that was, like, crazy because they were having this small scene in the episode where Adam mentions, like, the singles cruise and how they all should go, and then he gave, like, Laurel a compliment about her in a bikini or something. So that seemed like a huge Easter egg for me, that maybe they are going to do that. Anyways, I just thought, wow, this universe is actually insane. Like, insane. Like, we've got one daughter, like, messing around with two brothers. Now we've got the mother of that daughter, like, going back to ex-husband, then breaking up with him, and then dating the father of those two boys. Is that really what's happening? I know the show is messy, but even this is like, what is Jenny Han thinking? She's like, I've got it down. Yeah. Anyways, I just thought that was crazy. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Maybe I'll do another one of these when the movie comes out in probably, like, things like 2027. Earliest. Actually, it makes me wonder, like, if the actors are sick of playing these characters. Like, I want to know if they're like, oh, we want to do something else. I hope not. I hope they still want to play these characters and they still enjoy doing it. But yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts and I will see you guys all in my next video.